The war in Ukraine will be over in few months. European leaders are ready to send European troops, peacekeepers, to Ukraine to enforce a ceasefire in Ukraine next year. Meanwhile, Russian soldiers continue to withdraw from Syria. So why is Donald Trump's team confident that the war in Ukraine could be over in a few months, and what kind of a role European troops could play in a ceasefire in Ukraine and in ending this war as soon as next year? So Kit Kellogg, Trump's special envoy for Ukraine and Russia, said that the war in Ukraine could be over in a few months. He is confident that Donald Trump will bring the war closer to its end and will bring the war to its end soon in next year. According to Kit Kellogg, a ceasefire could be reached between Ukraine and Russia as early as this winter. So the Kit Kellogg's plan is, and Trump's plan for now, is to freeze the war in Ukraine, to reach a ceasefire, to ban Ukraine's membership in NATO, to ban Ukraine's inspiration to join NATO. But instead of that, Ukraine would be armed to the teeth, would be given enough security assistance, enough weapons to deter another Russian attack in the future. And also Donald Trump officially supports sending European troops to Ukraine after reaching a ceasefire, and European troops should patrol the military zone and should enforce a ceasefire deal between Ukraine and Russia. And also this idea will be officially discussed this week among European leaders. Meanwhile, Mike Waltz, Trump's national security advisor, says that his team is working around the clock to reach a ceasefire in Ukraine as soon as possible. So Mike Waltz is confident that a ceasefire could be reached as early as this winter. Also, he said that his team are now working on the specifics of this plan to reach a ceasefire. Also, Kit Kellogg will visit both Russia and Ukraine to reach a deal to get both Ukraine and Russia to a negotiation table. Also, according to Donald Trump, Ukraine would be provided with security assistance in case of a ceasefire in Ukraine, and European troops would be deployed to the front line, to the front lines to enforce a ceasefire deal. On the other hand, President Zelensky said that Ukraine would be ready to agree with a ceasefire if Ukraine receives strong security guarantees, if Ukraine is invited to join NATO, and if NATO's membership is provided for those territories which are controlled by Ukraine. This is Ukraine's starting position for negotiations. However, Ukraine could agree with such terms if solid, strong security guarantees are provided, if Ukraine is provided with enough weapons to deter another Russia's attack in the future, and if the peaceful settlement of this war, if the peace deal is reached on appropriate for Ukraine's terms, its membership in NATO and strong security guarantees, or instead of membership of NATO, European troops could be deployed, and this could be, instead of NATO's membership, this could be a good solution for Ukraine. At the same time, European leaders, according to Political, are officially discussing the idea of sending European peacekeepers to Ukraine this week. So this Wednesday, at the European Council, French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, head of Poland Andrzej Duda, and President Zelensky will discuss the idea of sending European peacekeepers troops to Ukraine to enforce a ceasefire. So European leaders would like to play a bigger role in a negotiation process between Ukraine, Russia and the United States. That's why President Macron is pressing forward his idea to send European troops. So according to recent media publications, the United Kingdom, France, Poland, Estonia, Latvia and other Scandinavian Baltic states are ready to send its own troops to Ukraine to enforce a ceasefire and to bring the war to its end, to its just end on Ukrainian terms. On the other hand, Kaja Kallas, the main European diplomat, says that it is too early to discuss this idea before Ukraine and Russia have reached a ceasefire. According to Kaja Kallas, it's important to reach a ceasefire for the first time, and the second step should be sending European peacekeepers to Ukraine to enforce a ceasefire. Also, there have been some another discussions among European leaders. So at that time, it seems like Europe is ready to play a bigger role in the Ukraine's defense and is ready to deploy boots on the ground to enforce a ceasefire. Moreover, Donald Trump fully supports this idea. He said that he fully supports, and after his latest meeting with President Zelensky in Paris, it seems like relations between Ukraine and the United States, between Trump and Zelensky, have reached a turning point, after which Donald Trump fully supports Ukrainian position. He has become fully pro-Ukrainian. That's why he supports sending European peacekeepers to provide to reach a ceasefire in Ukraine, to arm Ukraine to the teeth, to provide European peacekeepers to deter another Russia's attack in the future. But stay with us on YouTube, and we will cover another interesting statements and future developments of this topic, because lots of discussions will be taken and lots of negotiations will be conducted in the upcoming weeks and months ahead. And at the end of our conversation, we will cover current situation in Syria. According to Reuters, 400 Russian soldiers have been evacuated from the Russian bases because of the collapse of the Bashar al-Assad regime. So according to Reuters, 400 Russian troops have been withdrawn from this region. Bloomberg reported that Russia has been negotiating a possibility of the continuation of military presence there. However, Russia, according to Ukrainian intelligence, Russia has been withdrawing its military troops, military personnel, military equipment from Syria to Russia for many days. It seems like Russia has failed to negotiate the military presence in Syria. However, it would be the biggest Russian military failure, because previously it had 2 military bases in Syria, one air base in Khmeimim and another navy base in Tartus. However, the withdrawal of the Russian troops for this region would mean the biggest military disaster for Russia in this region, and the loss of Russian status of a key player in this region. And that's why reputation of Vladimir Putin's will be fully destroyed among in his relations between his partners in that region and other allies, and that would be a full disaster for Russian dictator Vladimir Putin, who also fails to destroy Ukraine, who also fails to fully capture Ukraine, because his military operation, his war against Ukraine has become the biggest military disaster. That's all for today. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, stay with us on YouTube, and glory to Ukraine.